Tonight, you'll discover what made Takeda Shingen, the Tiger of Sengoku Japan, so unstoppable. Picture a cold dawn in Kai province. You kneel at history's edge, fate uncertain. One betrayal could shift a dynasty. Defiance will echo through the mountains before night falls. If you crave immersive journeys into Japan's stormy past, like and subscribe. Share where you're watching from and the time. Let's find out who else drifts into the Sengoku shadows. Let the icy river carry you into a story of steel, whispers, and legacy. Kai Province, Central Japan. Dawn breaks. You kneel on the riverbank, breath curling in the chill. Boots crunch frost. Thunder rumbles in the distance. The low whisper of armor shifting fills the air. Behind you, your father's men close in, eyes hard. The Kamanashi River bites at your toes. The current is swift, daring you to flinch. Every sound sharpens your awareness. The tension is palpable. You are Harunobu, later called Takeda Shingen. Right now, you're only a son under crushing expectation. The world narrows. River, men, sword. One slip and your story ends in the cold. Your father's authority is absolute, as sharp as his steel. The pressure mounts. Tradition presses in, and you sense the test is near. An armored man steps forward. Frost crackles beneath his weight. You know him by his grip on the spear, loyal, but loyal first to your father. One glance tells you mercy is not an option. The air is thick with the unspoken rules of samurai life: loyalty, obedience, betrayal. The moment stretches, uncertain. The next move will matter. You feel the sting of exile before it comes. The river's chill is nothing to your cold chest. Your father's wrath is a storm. You are its target. In the Sengoku period, even a daimyo's son is not safe from shifting power. Every breath is a wager. The next moment could bring disaster. The outcome hangs in the balance. Suddenly, steel flashes in the grey light. A blade glints. The line between family and enemy blurs. You are outnumbered, outmaneuvered, out of time. But the Tiger of Kai's story is not one of surrender. Tradition demands silence. Survival demands a roar. The choice is yours. The river whispers a challenge. The men move closer. Each step is a reminder. Loyalty is currency here. Betrayal is the exchange rate. You weigh your next move. Your life depends on it. The river is more than a barrier. Tonight, it is a test. The water's whisper marks the countdown. You sense the moment of decision drawing near. Your heart pounds louder than the river. You grip your sword, the hilt icy. In this moment, you are not just Harunobu. You are hope for your house and a threat to its order. One wrong move could end your line. The tension presses on. The future is uncertain. The stakes are clear as mountain air. Survival means outwitting enemies and family. Legitimacy is a blade's width from oblivion. Supremacy is promised to none. Every whisper could be your downfall. The next act will decide everything. The air grows heavier. A voice cuts through the fog, low and urgent. Harunobu, your father waits. The words are simple. The threat is not. You rise, slow, every muscle tense. The river is behind you, men in front, your father's judgment above. The next step is critical. The path forward is fraught. You step forward. Boots sink into the frost. Each stride is heavy with possibility, exile, disgrace, or worse. The armored men part, not out of respect, but to let fate pass through. The path ahead is as treacherous as the river. Every decision matters. The castle looms ahead. You enter Kaiso Castle's shadow. Its walls loom like silent judges. Inside, incense thickens the air. Retainers move in half-light. The castle is sanctuary and prison. Stone corridors echo with old battles and older grudges. The past weighs on every step. You sense eyes watching. Your father sits in judgment, eyes unreadable. Advisors murmur, weaving a web of power. You stand before him, every move measured. This is not a scene from legend. It is the raw calculus of Sengoku Japan. The outcome is still uncertain. The room holds its breath. The daimyo's gaze is heavier than armor. You bow, low and precise. The floor chills your knees. Outside, thunder rumbles. The mountain holds its breath. Your father's voice is quiet, but cuts like a blade. The air is thick with expectation. The verdict is coming. You defied my order, he says. The accusation is sharp, undeniable. You do not flinch. Here, hesitation is as deadly as steel. Every eye is on you, waiting to see if you will break. The room holds its breath for your response. The tension tightens. Arunobu, your father, waits. It is the 20th year of the Sengoku period. You walk the icy stone corridors of Kaiso Castle. Your breath clouds in the dim air. Every step echoes like a warning, each sound magnified by the cold. Above, the Takeda moon banners flutter, their fabric whispering of distant thunder. You pass a servant. His hands tremble as he slides open a paper door, just wide enough for you to slip through. The castle's heart draws you in. Here, walls seem to lean closer, eager for secrets. This is not simply your childhood home. It is a crucible. Ambition and danger are hammered together in these halls. Every corner hides another test of loyalty or nerve. Even the stones seem to remember. The night presses on, promising more. Your father, Lord Takeda, sits at the head of the council chamber. His presence is as heavy as forged steel. The room smells of damp stone, pine smoke, and the faintest tang of blood from a training accident. Retainers kneel in 2 careful rows, faces blank, hands hidden in their sleeves. The silence presses on your skin. Only a cough or the hush of silk breaks it. Every man here could be your ally or your executioner. The air is thick with possibility. The council's tension simmers. A low, urgent whisper slices through the hush. The Imagawa envoy waits. You recognize the voice. It's your cousin, a man who smiles with his mouth but never his eyes. Even the smallest negotiations here could topple the balance of power. Any misstep could become legend or ruin. The next move is yours. You keep your face as still as ice on the river outside. Beneath your skin, calculation flickers. The council chamber is a chessboard where the pieces are men. Every move draws blood. Here, tradition is both shield and shackle. To challenge it invites suspicion. To obey too meekly is to be forgotten. The tension is thick enough to taste. You wonder how long you can walk this edge. A retainer bows and presents a scroll. His hands are steady, but his eyes flicker to the doors. The wax seal is unbroken. Still, you sense the weight it carries. Alliances, betrayals, silent threats shaping the clan's fate. One wrong word and your family might lose not just territory, but their very name. In this world, a single rumor can kill faster than any sword. You brace yourself for what comes next. You wait for your father to speak. The lines around his mouth tighten as he reads. When he finally looks up, his gaze lingers on you, sharp and assessing. There is no warmth in it. Only the challenge of survival. You nod. A gesture that means nothing and everything in this room. The moment hangs between you. The decision is still to come. The wind rattles the shutters. Every eye turns toward the far side of the chamber. For a heartbeat, you sense fear behind the still faces. Nobody wants to be the first to react, or the first to be noticed. This is the lesson you learned young. In the Sengoku period, even silence can be a weapon. The next sound could change everything. A distant boom of thunder rolls over the mountains. For a moment, the chamber feels suspended between worlds. You remember the lessons your mother whispered. Trust is a blade with two edges, and family is both armor and trap. The memory burns as your father nods curtly to the retainer, signaling the meeting's end. The night is far from over. As the council dissolves, your cousin sidles up, voice low. You'll speak for the clan tonight? It isn't a question. It's a dare. The air between you is colder than the river outside, heavy with all the things left unsaid. If you falter, you'll be remembered as the mistake. If you succeed, you'll be feared. The stakes are set. The outcome is uncertain. You slip from the council chamber, steps swift on the polished stone. You make your way to the outer balcony. The view is stark. The river below runs swift and black. The peaks beyond dusted with early snow. You draw a breath, letting the cold settle your nerves. Every lord in the Sengoku period is just one mistake away from losing everything. You watch the horizon, waiting. A servant approaches, head bowed, offering a cup of tea. You take it, hands steady, eyes never leaving the horizon. The taste is bitter, earthy, grounding. This is your armor against the whispers. Outside, two guards shift at their posts. One glances your way, then quickly back to the courtyard. The castle feels alive with secrets. The night deepens. Inside, the mood is shifting. Your father's chief retainer gathers the inner circle. Voices are low, words sharp as blades. You catch fragments, imagawa, border, tribute. Each one a potential trap. The politics of the Sengoku period are a constant storm. Today's ally is tomorrow's usurper. You listen, searching for your opening. You step back into the hall and nearly collide with your younger brother. He looks up, eyes wide, face pale. Father wants you. There's fear in his voice, but also something else. Envy, maybe, or hope. You nod, and he vanishes into the shadows. Your turn is coming. You stand in the pre-dawn gloom of the Takeda clan shrine. The mountain air bites through your robes. Incense smoke curls around you. The lacquered floor creaks beneath careful feet. The names of your ancestors, painted in stoic black ink, seem to judge your every breath. Each one whispers of victories you're expected to surpass, or failures you must never repeat. The room teems with silent watchers. Elders in layered silks hover behind you, faces set in unreadable masks. The weight of Kai province presses on your shoulders, heavier than any armor. In this moment, honor feels less like a birthright and more like a trap. The old stories of glory ring hollow against the raw edge of your own uncertainty. You sense a change is coming. The elders' voices rustle like dry leaves as they discuss the unbroken line of Takeda warlords. They remind you of the duties you will inherit. Each word, every glance, is calculated to remind you that your place is not earned, but owed. The legacy is a double-edged sword, one side gleaming with pride, the other sharp with expectation. You wonder if greatness is really in your blood, or are you simply another pawn on this ancient chessboard? Your father's silent stare from the far end of the room is more chilling than the icy river that snakes below the shrine. His silence weighs on you, hinting at what's to come. Outside, wind howls across the frozen fields. The worn banners bearing your clan's crimson sun rattle in the gusts. The world beyond the shrine is a patchwork of icy rivers, mist-shrouded pine forests, and distant thunder over the peaks. Kai is a fortress carved from stone and willpower. But within these walls, power is as fragile as spring ice. You hear the clang of steel from the training yard, a sharp reminder that the Takeda name is only as strong as the sword that defends it. You are expected to be both shield and spear, protector and avenger. The air brims with anticipation. Suddenly, a messenger bursts through the sliding door. His breath is frost-white and urgent. He bows low, eyes never meeting yours. He delivers news that cuts through ceremony. A rival clan has breached a border village. The room's tension snaps. Elders murmur, anxious, and your father's jaw tightens in quiet fury. In a single heartbeat, the shrine transforms from a place of memory to a war council. The threat is not distant. It is here, and survival depends on your next move. You follow your father's stride into the inner chamber, where maps of Kai and its neighbors sprawl across the floor. Each boundary is a wound waiting to be reopened. Every castle is a potential traitor's nest. The world of the Sengoku period is a constant chess match, with each daimyo plotting to outmaneuver the others. The stakes are not just land and honor. They are your life, your family, your very identity. The elders' whispers grow sharper, slicing through the smoke as they debate alliances and betrayals. The outcome is uncertain, the tension mounting. Your father speaks at last, his voice low and measured, as if weighing each word against a blade. "You will ride at dawn," he says, and the command is as binding as any oath. The meaning is clear. Your loyalty is being tested, not just to the clan, but to your own ambition. The clang of distant steel echoes in your ears. You realize that every Takeda must win their name anew. In this world, blood ties are both armor and chains. The challenge ahead is unavoidable. The night is restless. You lie awake, listening to the wind batter the shutters and the muffled prayers of retainers in the corridors. The world outside is a chessboard, but inside these walls, the real game is trust. Your father's lieutenants meet in hushed circles, their voices tense with the possibility of betrayal. Even here, surrounded by supposed allies, you sense that any misstep could mean disaster. The sense of danger lingers. Just before dawn, you slip outside. The cold bites your skin as you cross the slick flagstones toward the stables. Your horse is already saddled, steam rising from its flanks in the frigid air. The stable master bows, offering a talisman for luck, a thin scrap of paper inked with prayers against arrows and treachery. You tuck it into your sleeve, unsure if you should laugh or be grateful. Out here, every gesture is a calculation. The road ahead feels treacherous. The procession forms in silence. Armored riders line up beneath the flickering torches. The clan's banner, crimson and stark, snaps in the mountain wind. Your father rides ahead, his silhouette rigid and unyielding, a living reminder of the legacy you are meant to inherit or destroy. Each hoofbeat is a warning. In the Sengoku period, even family can turn into rivals overnight. The mountain pass looms. As you ride through the mountain pass, icy rivers glint below, their currents swift and merciless. The world is stripped down to essentials: steel, ice, breath, and the pulse of danger. The men around you speak in tense whispers, trading rumors about the rival clan's numbers and the chances of victory. Every word is a test of loyalty and nerve. Even the horses seem to sense the storm brewing on the horizon. You reach the outskirts of the battlefield as the sun claws its way over the peaks. The village smolders, smoke curling into the pale sky. The ground is churned to mud by fleeing villagers and advancing soldiers. The clang of steel rings out in the distance, punctuated by shouts and the low crack of splintering wood. You taste fear on the air, sharp and metallic. The first clash is moments away. Your father halts the column, his gaze sweeping the chaos with clinical precision. He turns to you, voice flat. "Prove yourself," he says, and gestures toward the burning village. This is no lesson. It is a trial by fire. The elders watch from a safe remove, their approval as cold as the river at your back. The world holds its breath as you nudge your horse forward, every muscle tensed for the first blow. The moment you enter the fray, time contracts. You dodge a wild swing, parry another, and feel the jolt of impact rattle up your arm. The enemy wears no colors, just battered armor and desperate eyes. In the chaos, you spot a familiar face, one of your own retainers, fighting back-to-back with a rival. For a split second, loyalty and survival blur. You make your choice, driving your opponent back into the smoke. The consequence is simple. Hesitation here means death. The fight is not yet over. Dawn barely breaks in the mountain province of Kai. You kneel in the half-light, knees pressed to stone colder than river ice. The Zen master stands nearby, presence quiet but absolute. His voice is softer than snow. Yet every word lands with the weight of a drawn sword. Your blade rests across your thighs. The steel's chill seeps through your skin, anchoring you in the moment. Frost drifts from the open screens, settling on the black lacquered floor. The air tastes sharp. Only the distant cough of a bell breaks the silence. The morning holds its breath, hinting at what's to come. Each lesson at the monastery is a duel, your will against the world's indifference. The monks move with discipline that makes soldiers seem like children. You stare straight ahead, breathing steady, as your thighs ache and your toes go numb. The master's gaze flicks to your posture, and you sense a silent dare. Hesitation is weakness, and here, weakness is an invitation to be erased. The challenge is never spoken, but always present. Something more always waits. The monks teach that stillness is a blade sharper than steel. In the hush, only the icy wind threading through pine boughs can be heard. One stray thought or twitch, and the master's stick snaps against your shoulder, a lesson with no warning or apology. Pain wakes you more than any chill. You learn to expect nothing. Discomfort becomes familiar, like a gambler's risk. The next test could come at any moment. You begin to understand their logic. Every movement is a question, act or wait. In a world where feudal lords carve out provinces like deal-makers, the line between glory and disaster is thin. It's measured in a breath held or a sword, drawn a half-second too soon. The Zen master says, no mind, no fear. You try to believe it, uncertain if you can. The future presses in. When the sun claws above the ridgeline, training shifts. You're led outside, snow crunching underfoot, to a clearing. The monks spar in silence. The clang of wooden swords rings out, echoing off stone and pine. You pair off, heart pounding, two sides of yourself at war, the son of a daimyo and the boy desperate not to disappoint. Every strike is watched, judged, remembered. The next mistake could cost you. A sudden shout breaks the pattern. The master steps in, correcting your stance with a flick of his staff. His tone is as dry as winter leaves. Your enemy will not wait for you to find balance. You swallow frustration, cheeks stinging with shame and cold. The monk's discipline is relentless, but it has purpose. Each bruise is a lesson pressed deep into muscle and bone. Another trial always awaits. By midday, your arms tremble and your back aches. Lunch is silent, rice and bitter greens, nothing more. Conversation is forbidden. Only the sound of chopsticks tapping bowls and the distant roll of thunder down the valley fills the room. The food is plain, but you eat with the hunger of someone who knows. Comfort is a luxury for the dead. The afternoon promises new challenges. In the afternoons, lessons turn inward. Meditation, breath, the endless struggle to still the mind. You kneel, eyes closed, as the world contracts to the faint scent of incense and the whisper of wind. Here, fear creeps in. Fear of failing your father, of losing your name, of becoming another forgotten casualty in the endless war for power. Each breath is a battle you must win. The struggle is never finished. The Zen master's words are few, but they cut deep. To master others, first master yourself. You repeat it until it becomes a rhythm in your bones. Outside, the The world is chaos. Provinces rise and fall. Castles burn. Alliances are written and broken with a flick of a brush. Within these walls, the only battle is with yourself. The future presses close. One evening, as dusk settles and the monastery is painted in blue shadow, you are summoned to the abbot's chamber. The room is small, lit by a single lantern. The walls bare but for a faded scroll. The abbot studies you, eyes unreadable. He gestures for you to sit. Your heart thuds. This is no ordinary audience. The air is thick with expectation. He pours tea in silence, letting the steam curl between you. Finally he speaks. You are not your father, nor are you free of him. The words are both challenge and warning. You nod, barely trusting your voice. The abbot's gaze lingers, as if stripping away every defense you have built. The tea is bitter, but you drink it anyway. Something important is coming. The abbot leans closer. You will return to the world soon. The storms outside these walls make no room for hesitation. The implication is clear. Your training is ending, and the real test waits beyond the gates. Your mind races with images of your father's court, brittle smiles, whispered threats, the weight of expectation pressing like the mountain itself. You sense the world shifting. That night, sleep eludes you. You listen to the wind howl through the monastery, and to the distant crash of river ice breaking in spring. Shadows flicker across the ceiling. Every creak seems to herald some new disaster. In the darkness, you rehearse the lessons: stillness, patience, the art of waiting for the right moment to strike. The night stretches on. At dawn, you kneel before the Zen master one last time. He ties a strip of white cloth around your left wrist, a sign you have completed your training, and a reminder your journey is far from over. His final words are as soft as falling snow. Honor is not inherited. It is earned moment by moment. The meaning lingers as you rise. The road calls. You bow and rise to your feet as the monks file past. Their faces give nothing away, but you sense a grudging respect. Outside, the snow has stopped. The river below runs cold and swift. The road home waits, and with it, the tangled web of family, power, and ambition. The next steps are yours alone. As you set off down the mountain, the stakes crystallize. Survival is not guaranteed. Legitimacy must be seized, not granted. The lessons of the monastery are now your only shield. Every step away from the sanctuary is a step into the jaws of the tiger's world. The path ahead is uncertain. No mind, no fear. The air in the Lord's court stings your lungs. Late afternoon sunlight barely warms the polished floorboards. You stand in your father, Nobutaro's shadow. Nobutaro's eyes are fixed on a lacquered map, its painted rivers and mountains glinting, promise or warning. Outside, the wind hisses. Inside, every breath is measured. Every movement echoes. The retainers line the walls, eyes sharp, faces unreadable as paper screens. Their gaze is heavy, waiting for you to misstep. You sense their patience is not infinite. The court feels like a trap, and you are already caught. You shift, silk robe whispering like a threat. Nobutaro's voice cuts through the silence, low and hard. The clans press at our borders. and still you counsel caution. He does not turn to face you. You keep your tone even, offering a strategy that sidesteps his demand for open war. The room tightens. Nobutora's trust is as thin as winter ice. A single wrong word could send you plunging beneath. Every suggestion is a test. You cannot afford to fail, and you feel the stakes rising. The next words will decide your standing. One retainer coughs, sharp and quick. All eyes flick to him. Tension spikes. You glance at the map, noting black lacquered pins marking enemy strongholds. Each pin is a threat, but also a chance. In Sengoku Japan, family and foe are separated by a blade's width. Nobutora's glare says he knows it. You sense he is waiting for you to overstep, to give him cause. The air crackles with anticipation. You control your breathing, weighing your next words like coins at market. The Lord's court is not a place for honesty. Every gesture is calculated. You suggest reinforcing the border villages instead of marching the army. Nobutora's lip curls in disdain, but he does not refuse. The retainers murmur, approval or disapproval hidden. A ripple of unease moves through the room. Even the smallest sign of division can ignite a fire that consumes families and provinces alike. The next decision will matter. The balance is shifting. Outside, thunder rolls past the mountains, low and distant. The threat of betrayal never leaves your blood. A servant enters, kneeling with a message. The seal is unfamiliar. Nobutora tears it open, eyes narrowing as he reads. You watch his knuckles whiten on the paper. He hands the message to you without a word. The note is brief. An ally has defected. The border fortress now in enemy hands. The court greets in sharply. The map has changed, and so have the stakes. The news hangs in the air. Nobutora rounds on you, his anger icy and precise. Did your advice win us this shame? His voice is sharp as drawn steel. You meet his gaze, unblinking, answering with care. If you flinch now, you lose everything. You remind him the fortress was always vulnerable. The real enemy moves unseen. The room holds its breath. Nobutora's fury is a storm, but you weather it. If you are to be the Tiger of Kai, you must prove yourself sharper than suspicion. The tension lingers. The outcome is uncertain. The retainers exchange glances, tension running like a live wire. Each man is calculating, watching the wind. You remember a lesson your father once gave: trust no one, not even your blood. In the Sengoku period, a daimyo's enemies are often at his table. The balance is shifting. The threat is not only beyond the borders, but within these walls. The danger is close. A sudden silence falls, broken by the faint clang of steel from below. You realize your father is testing you before the court, making your loyalty a spectacle. The retainers are hungry for weakness. If you falter, they will feast. You steady yourself, recalling the icy rivers you crossed to get here. Every hardship has forged you. Now you stand on another edge. The next test is imminent. You step forward, voice calm, offering a new plan, swift retaliation, but not brute force. Instead, you propose a night raid, exploiting the enemy's overconfidence. Nobutora's brows knit in suspicion, but he nods slowly. The retainers murmur, this time with a hint of approval. You sense the tide turning, just enough to keep you afloat. The next move will be decisive. The court waits. A retainer interrupts, suggesting a more traditional approach. Massing the army, crushing the traitors with overwhelming force. Nobutora's eyes flick between you and the retainer, weighing loyalty against ambition. The air is thick with incense and sweat, the taste of iron on your tongue. You hold your ground, refusing the safety of tradition. In this court, innovation is both weapon and weakness. The old ways are not easily set aside. You catch your father's eye, a silent challenge passing between you. The clash is not just about strategy. It is about the future of Kai. Nobutora is the old guard, forged in earlier fires. You are the inheritor, but only if you survive his tests. The retainers watch, searching for signs of who will prevail. The outcome will echo beyond these walls. The struggle is far from over. A distant roll of thunder punctuates the standoff. Nobutora raises his hand, silencing the court. He declares your plan will be tried, but any failure will be yours alone. The consequences are plain. Succeed, and your star rises. Fail, and you answer for the shame. The court disperses, tension still humming in the air. The storm has not yet broken. The night promises challenge. Kai at dusk. You are a blade drawn between two worlds. Inside the Takeda stronghold, the air tastes of iron and river fog. It is thick with anticipation. Shadows ripple along sliding doors as loyalists gather, their feet muffled by tatami. Eyes dart to your silent command. Tonight, the air crackles with the promise of upheaval. Every muscle pulls taut. Your cloak brushes the lacquered floor, but it is the hush before the storm that chills your skin. This is the hour you become a legend or a ghost. Somewhere beyond, the night waits for your next move. You move through the corridor. Your heartbeat echoes distant thunder. Each step is a wager, each glance a negotiation. The retainers close in, sleeves concealing blades, faces unreadable. You give a nod, almost imperceptible. The pattern of history fractures. Swords flash, steel on steel, the sharp report ringing out as if the mountains themselves were splitting. In the chaos, alliances dissolve like mist at sunrise. The outcome remains uncertain. The castle's main hall erupts in confusion. Old men clutch their chests, some kneeling, others reaching for sword hilts. You catch your father's closest advisor's eye. His face is pale as winter river ice. He bows low, too low, fear scraping away years of dignity. In that instant, you realize the price of ambition is always paid in trust. The hall feels smaller, pressed in by consequences. Your father stands at the head of the room. His hands tremble, flanked by retainers who once swore to die for him. The world outside recedes, replaced by a hush thick with betrayal. You step forward, feeling every samurai's gaze. The cold air bites at your cheeks. The clang of steel outside the shoji doors reminds you that loyalty is a currency quickly spent. The moment hangs, stretched tight as a bowstring waiting to snap. A retainer lunges, blade drawn. aiming for your throat. You pivot, cloak swirling, and your own sword meets his in a shower of sparks. The clash is brief and brutal. He falters, knees buckling. Behind him, another steps back, fear flickering in his gaze. The room's tension shifts, as if the very floor has chosen sides. The battle is not yet won. You seize the opening and command your men forward. They move with the precision of a well-rehearsed play. Resistance is subdued with swift, silent violence. Your father's allies are divided. Some kneel, surrendering their blades, while others press back, driven by desperation and pride. The line between friend and enemy blurs, just as it always does in war. You taste the copper tang of risk on your tongue. The next choice is yours. In the corner, a loyalist shouts your name, voice cracking under pressure. He throws his sword to the floor, begging for clemency. The plea echoes, a reminder that mercy is as dangerous as any weapon. You nod, signaling your men to stand down. The room falls into a tense, uneasy silence. Everyone waits for your next move. The cost of mercy lingers. The storm outside intensifies, wind rattling the latticework and sending cold drafts across the tatami. You feel the weight of every ancestor pressing down on your shoulders. This is not just a coup. It is the reforging of a dynasty. You lock eyes with your father. He is captive now, his legacy hanging in the balance. No words pass between you, but the wound is carved deep. The future is not yet decided. A distant crash, another gate reached. The chaos of the outer courtyard seeps in, muffled curses and the tramp of hurried feet. You sense the clan's fate teetering on a knife edge. There is no turning back, not for you or for the Takeda. The room's tension is broken only by the sound of a retainer weeping softly, head bowed. Nothing about this victory will be clean. You give the order to secure the castle, voice steady despite your racing heart. The men fan out, checking corridors, extinguishing pockets of resistance with ruthless efficiency. The halls fill with the scent of sweat and fear, the air thick with the knowledge that everything has changed. You force yourself to walk slowly, head high, even as the world tilts beneath your feet. The castle waits for your command. The last of your father's loyalists are herded into the main courtyard, faces blank with shock. You stand at the threshold, watching the cold river wind sweep through the ranks. Some meet your gaze, searching for a trace of the boy they once served. You give them nothing, only the unyielding mask of leadership. Survival now demands you become the thing they fear. The test of your will is not over. A flash of movement. A retainer breaks from the group, racing toward the inner gate. Your men intercept him, forcing him to kneel in the dirt. The spectacle is brutal. You feel the eyes of the entire clan fixed on you. This is the moment your authority is tested, and you meet it with a gesture. The retainer is spared, for now, mercy doled out like rain in drought. The cost is a silent promise, loyalty, or oblivion. The lesson is not lost. The moon rises higher, painting the castle in silver and shadow. You walk the perimeter, each step measured, every sense alert for new threats. The night carries the scent of pine and blood. The river's cold breath curls through the broken gates. The castle itself seems to watch, waiting to see if you are worthy of its legacy. You know there will be no sleep tonight. Inside, your father is brought before you, hands bound, eyes blazing with grief and fury. The silence is broken only by the soft hiss of wind against paper walls. You search his face for some sign of forgiveness, but find only the reflection of your own ambition. The moment is sharp as a drawn blade. You realize you have crossed a threshold, and there is no return. The night deepens. A retainer whispers in your ear. The outer villages are stirring, word of the coup spreading like wildfire. Allies may turn, enemies may gather, and the rivers of Kai may run red before dawn. You give swift orders, double the watch, secure the granaries, send riders to the mountain passes. Every decision is a gamble. Every ally is a potential traitor. The pressure is relentless, and dawn is not far off. Dawn creeps over Kai province. You sit astride your restless horse, armored and tense. Your men are arrayed behind you, faces half hidden by mist. Their eyes fix on the muddy rise ahead, where enemy banners taunt in bold colors. The dew glints on grass. The river's icy breath drifts between the lines. Each inhale brings the tang of wet earth and iron. The air is alive with distant shouts and the metallic hiss of steel. You are Takeda Shingen. Today, the Tiger of Kai must earn his stripes with sweat and blood. The enemy waits, unseen, but you sense their challenge. Today is only beginning. The Warring States period is a contest of survival. It is not for the faint-hearted. Feudal lords, daimyo, if you speak like one, claw for provinces and castles. They fight for the right to be remembered. You can almost taste betrayal on the breeze. Even your own men, loyal by oath and hunger, watch for cracks in your armor. Every signal, a hand raised, a nod, could mean life for some, death for others. Suspicion is your constant companion. The rules keep shifting. You roll your shoulders, feeling the weight of armor and expectation. The Tiger of Kai is a name you must still make worthy of fear. Mud sucks at your horse's hooves as you move to the front line. The squelch is drowned by the enemy's rising clangor. Across the field, the rival lord's vanguard shifts, restless, eager, maybe desperate. In this world, every neighbor is a potential enemy. Any ally might turn assassin before sunset. The lines between friend and foe blur. Danger is everywhere. The wind carries the sound of a distant river, cold and swift. The land itself is as much an opponent as any man. You recall your father's lessons. Never trust a smiling envoy. Never waste an arrow. Always keep a mountain at your back. Kai province is your inheritance, but also your crucible. One wrong move, and your clan becomes a footnote, trampled by the next upstart warlord. The ground beneath you feels uncertain. The next trial is coming. A runner arrives, breathless and pale, whispering of a break in your left flank. You do not flinch. You lock eyes with your captain, who nods and peels away with spearmen. The rest of your men tense, gripping their weapons. Boots sink deeper into thickening mud. Above, a single falcon circles, indifferent to the blood about to be spilled. The threat grows with each passing moment. The balance teeters. You lift your sword, the blade catching a sliver of sunlight. Every eye finds you, waiting for your signal. The air sharpens with anticipation. Only the creak of leather and distant thunder break the hush. In this moment, you are both judge and executioner. The fate of your house balances on the edge of your command. The next move will decide everything. The outcome is still unwritten. You drive your horse forward, a shout tearing from your throat. It is half order, half promise. The charge erupts, spears lowered, banners streaming like fire in the gloom. The ground shakes with pounding hooves. Armor clashes against armor, ringing like a smith's hammer. You are in it now. Senses narrow to movement and the hot breath of your horse. The chaos closes in. The fight is just beginning. An enemy spear flashes toward you. You parry, the jolt vibrating up your arm. You counter with a slash, biting deep into lacquered wood. The man stumbles back. Your men surge past, swallowing him in a tide of steel and mud. For a heartbeat you see only chaos, faces twisted in fear, the river's edge glinting with menace. Above it all, your standard whips wild in the wind. The fight is not yet over. The outcome hangs in the balance. Suddenly, the enemy's center buckles. Your captain's voice rings out, urgent over the cacophony. They're breaking. You press the advantage, urging your men forward. Hesitation now would be fatal. The enemy wavers, then scatters, fleeing into the mist as their formation collapses. The field is yours, but victory feels like a loan taken from fate. The cost may be yet to come. The reckoning is near. In the aftermath, the world contracts to ragged breaths and the sticky squelch of blood in mud. The living stagger, the fallen lie still. You dismount, boots sinking into churned earth, and survey the scene. Your men gather, faces streaked with sweat and dirt. Their eyes search yours for approval, for assurance that they still follow the right lord. The burden of command lingers. The next decision awaits. A sudden movement at the field's edge pulls your attention. A boy, barely old enough to carry a sword, kneels beside a fallen comrade. He looks up, face tight with grief and something harder, resolve, or the first taste of vengeance. In this land, loyalty is forged in loss. You nod to him, sealing a silent pact. To survive here, you must become as ruthless as the world demands. The next lesson waits. A cold wind whips across the battlefield, carrying the faint scent of rain. The promise of more storms is in the air. You know this victory will draw new enemies as surely as it brings new followers. Power in the Sengoku period is a magnet. Every gain brings a counterstroke. Your men regroup, tense and wary of the next threat beyond the mist. The cycle continues. You order scouts to the perimeter, your voice steady. Inside, your mind races with possibilities. Any rival could attack while you count the cost of this morning's gamble. The price of leadership is never paid in full. The icy river gurgles nearby, indifferent, as if mocking the ambitions of men. The land holds its own secrets. The next move is uncertain. They're breaking. Kai Province, late afternoon. Rain lashes battered ramparts. Thunder shatters the sky, a battle above. Your armor sticks, sweat and water mingling. Each breath tastes of mud and iron. The siege wears on, nerves stretched thin. Your men cluster, eyes hollow, watching enemy banners flicker across sodden fields. Steel clashes somewhere unseen, echoing through the storm. You shout orders, voice raw, each word hurled into chaos. The storm only grows fiercer, hinting at worse to come. Inside the keep, the scent of damp straw and old blood lingers. The walls tremble with each distant impact. You move through knots of retainers. Faces show exhaustion, loyalty, and flickers of resentment. Tense whispers fill the air, rumors of spies and dwindling rice. Betrayal simmers in the shadows. Every decision is a wager with fate. The ledger is written in lives, each name a silent weight. A threat may be closer than you think, pressing in with the storm. You grip your sword hilt, knuckles white. The weight of lineage presses down. The Takeda name is a double-edged blade, honor and expectation sharpened by time. Suddenly, a runner bursts in, clothes plastered to his thin frame. He gasps the latest news. The enemy's battering ram has breached the outer gate. The words hang like a death sentence. The men near you stiffen, glancing at each other, weighing their choices. The breach is now, and the next move is critical. Outside, the downpour turns clay to a treacherous slick. You clamber onto a watchtower, wind tearing at your helmet. Lightning reveals chaos below. Enemy soldiers surge at the breach. Your lines buckle. A young samurai stands beside you, armor dented, face grim. In another world, he might have tilled rice fields. But here, in Sengoku Japan, there is only war. The next move could decide everything. A sudden shout from below. A familiar voice. Your younger brother rallies men to flood the gap. You watch him rush into the maelstrom, blade flashing. For a moment, chaos sharpens to a single point of light. Family is both shield and weapon here. If he falls, it is not just blood lost. It could split your clan down the spine. The next blow may change your fate. The battering ram splinters against the gate, timbers groaning like dying oxen. You leap down, landing hard, mud splashing up your legs. Each step toward the breach is another wager with death. For a heartbeat, you consider retreat, abandoning the keep, melting into the mountains. But the Takeda cannot run, not tonight. The enemy is closing in, every moment narrowing your options. You bark orders, archers to the wall, spearmen to the breach. The clang of steel rises, deafening. Your men close ranks. Your brother appears at your side, blood streaking his cheek. His eyes are wild but unbroken. He grins, a madman's smile. For an instant you remember being boys, racing through these halls. Ambition has turned every corner into a trap. The battle is far from finished, and the night is young. The enemy pushes harder, banners soaked and torn. Their lord, a rival daimyo, waits in the rear, aloof, calculating. He sends wave after wave into the meat grinder. You recognize the pattern. He gambles you'll exhaust your last reserves before dawn. During the warring states period, power is measured by endurance. Who can outlast, outmaneuver, outbleed the other? Dawn is still far away, and the enemy's resolve is unbroken. A stray arrow hisses past your ear, thunking into the wood behind you. You barely flinch. The men see this. Steadiness matters as much as any sword. You grab a fallen spear, brace the shaft, and thrust forward. You meet the enemy head. On. The cold mud sucks at your feet. Every sense is razor sharp. The world narrows to steel and rain. The fighting intensifies, and the outcome is uncertain. A horn sounds from the far side of the field, a signal, but not one you expected. The enemy's left flank suddenly falters. Confusion spreads like ink in water. Your scouts have set fire to their supply carts under cover of storm. Relief surges through you, hot and real. You bellow for your men to press the advantage. The defenders surge forward, pushing attackers back from the breach. Your brother's laughter rings out, manic and victorious. He nearly slips, but you catch his arm, steadying him. The enemy is not finished yet, and the fight will go on. Rain pours harder, drumming on helmets and banners. Blood runs in rivulets through churned earth. Enemy soldiers stumble, slipping in panic. For a brutal minute, the tide turns. But then the enemy regroups, forming a shield wall. The press of bodies becomes suffocating. Old dread creeps in. What if this is the moment the Takeda line snaps? You search for something to tip the balance, scanning the chaos for a sign. You scan the battlefield for a sign of weakness. Instead, you spot a familiar crest among the attackers. One of your own bannermen, turned traitor, leads a charge against the gate. Shock is ice in your veins. Betrayal, here and now, when failure means ruin. The traitor's wedge splits your defenders, opening a wound in your line. Your brother curses, rage and fear mixing in his eyes. The enemy has been inside your walls all along. The next moments will be critical, and your response must be swift. A retainer tugs your sleeve. His message is bleak. Supplies are nearly gone, and the men can't hold much longer. You nod, cold calculation taking over. Hope alone will not feed them. The next hour will decide if the Takeda name is legend or ash. You must act swiftly before time runs out. Easy in. Midnight settles over the council chamber. The room lies deep within the mountain's stone heart. You sit at a lacquered table, lantern light glinting off its polished surface. Across from you, a rival warlord waits. His robes are heavy with clan crests. His smile is sharp, as if ready for a knife fight in a dark alley. Outside, icy river water threads past ancient walls. Thunder rolls through the valleys, echoing like taiko drums. Every word exchanged is a gambit. Every gesture hints at threat. Even the shadows seem to listen, hungry for secrets yet to be revealed. You lift a porcelain cup. The sake inside trembles as your hand hovers. The warlord's eyes never leave yours, calculating, unblinking, almost inhuman. One careless phrase could shift the balance of power, or end your family's line before sunrise. The air is thick with oiled armor and smoldering pine. Alliances here are brittle, like reeds in winter. Yet the ritual of toasting endures. It masks the blades hidden beneath every sleeve. You wonder what danger the next moment might bring. Your most trusted retainer stands close behind you. His knuckles are white on his sword's hilt. Tension radiates from him like heat from a forge. At your left, another retainer shifts, eyes darting between the rival's men and the flickering lanterns. Even in this supposed sanctuary, trust is a luxury. The risk of betrayal lingers in the air. The rival warlord leans in. His voice is smooth, polished by years of negotiation. Your lands are rich, but your borders are exposed, he purrs. Each word is a test, probing for weakness. You reply with measured courtesy, offering only ambiguity. Every sentence could be a snare. The lantern flame gutters, casting monstrous shadows across the map. A flash of steel shows beneath his sleeve. Danger sharpens between you, unresolved. Outside, the wind howls through the eaves. You hear distant steel striking steel, perhaps a night drill, or perhaps the first hint of betrayal. The chamber's warmth feels fragile, barely holding the cold at bay. In the Sengoku period, a daimyo's greatest enemy is often the one who bows deepest. You recall tales of men poisoned by kin, castles lost in a single night, and legacies erased before the ink dried. The threat seems closer than ever. Your thoughts shift to the Council's true agenda. You are not here only to survive. You came to outmaneuver, to turn suspicion into leverage. You want to prove you are more than the son of your house. You aim to be its architect. The warlord across from you repeats his offer, a marriage alliance, sealed with blood and promises. A cold bead of sweat traces your spine. The river that marks your border feels closer, and the stakes climb higher. A servant enters, bearing more sake. Her footfalls are whisper quiet on tatami. You nod, but the rival's gaze never wavers. This is a night when names are either remembered or forgotten forever. Your retainer's jaw twitches. He expects violence before dawn. If you misread this moment, the mountain will remember your failure for generations. The outcome remains uncertain. You weigh the rival's proposal, considering not just his words, but the silences between them. This alliance could legitimize your claim. It could also spell disaster if he betrays you. The lanterns flicker, and for a heartbeat, your father's stern face appears in the polished wood. The past is always watching here. Every move is judged. The next words will matter. You speak with a steady voice, edged with warning. An alliance is only as strong as the men who honor it. The rival smiles, showing teeth. He lifts his cup, and you mirror him, eyes locked. Suddenly, thunder cracks overhead. The chamber shudders. The moment hangs. Will you rise tonight, or vanish into legend as another casualty of ambition? The answer waits in the next breath. The rival sets his cup down with a snap. He leans closer, mask slipping for an instant. I have heard rumors, he murmurs, that your retainers question your resolve. The words sting. Your retainer stiffens, but you signal him to hold. The test is clear, and the right answer is all that matters. You pause, letting silence stretch until even the shadows seem to breathe. A tiger's claws are never far, you say. The rival's lips curl in grudging respect. Reputation is a blade that wounds both ways in the Sengoku period. You sense the air shift. The rival must recalculate his approach. Perhaps our tigers should hunt together, the warlord suggests. The implication is clear. Join forces, carve up weaker neighbors, or face each other in open war. You see hope and menace flicker in his eyes. He is as desperate as you. The wind rises, rattling the paper screens. Every alliance here is a wager with fate, and the outcome is still uncertain. You study the map between you. Its inked lines trace rivers, mountains, and the contested castle at the heart of your ambitions. Accepting this alliance is a gamble. Your family's legacy rests on a handshake with a snake. You reach for the snake, but your hand hesitates. Hesitation breeds suspicion, and you sense the rival watching. You glance at your retainers. One's jaw is set, the other's eyes flicker with doubt. Loyalty is forged or shattered under this pressure. You think of the icy river marking your border, and the men stationed there tonight. Peace or war may reach them by sunrise. The next hours will decide everything. You set your cup down. If your word is true, let us seal it with more than just sake, you say. The rival tilts his head, considering. For a moment, the room holds its breath, as if the mountain itself listens. The future hangs in the balance. An alliance is only as strong as the men who honor it. Smoke curves above trampled grass as dusk settles over the mountain province. You, Takeda Shingen, stand in battered armor. The clang of steel still rings in your ears. Blood, not all yours, streaks your sleeves. Every breath draws in the stink of churned mud and scorched leather. Men gather in knots, their cheers rough as word spreads. The Tiger of Kai has shattered another rival. Yet victory brings no warmth. A colder awareness settles in your gut. This is Sengoku Japan, where the only thing sharper than a blade is a rumor. The night presses in, hinting at what waits beyond the edge of the firelight. Your standard flutters against smoky twilight, battered but upright. You watch your vassals bow low, eyes flickering with awe and calculation. The battlefield is never silent. Behind you, a wounded samurai groans. The icy river carries away the last crimson traces of violence. The men are exhausted, their loyalty brittle, tested by each new legend that grows around you. For every friend, there are two who might be enemies by dawn. The balance shifts with every whispered tale. The firelight seems to shrink. You stride toward the perimeter, boots squelching in thick mud. The sharp scent of rain on cold stone cuts through the air. The victorious must appear invincible, but your mind works faster than your steps. Tonight, Japan's deadly chessboard has shifted. Every lord in the region will recalibrate alliances before the moon sets. The Tiger of Kai is now a challenge, flung into the teeth of every rival daimyo. Castles, villages, and rice fields hang in the balance. Each one is as fragile as a reed by the water's edge. The next move will not wait for dawn. A messenger ducks through the ranks and kneels, pressing his forehead into the mud. Behind him, thunder flickers on the horizon. He brings news. A neighboring clan, once uneasy allies, has raised its own banner in defiance. The ink on your last alliance is barely dry. Already, the scent of betrayal drifts on the air. In Sengoku Japan, every handshake is a gamble. Every promise might be a trap. The future feels suddenly closer. You nod and dismiss the messenger with a curt gesture. Around you, generals exchange glances heavy with meaning. Loyalty here is measured in victories, not words. The clang of steel from a nearby skirmish reminds you, even with the main battle won, the outskirts remain dangerous. Sometimes the real threat is not in front, but behind your own lines. A single whisper can unravel months of careful plotting. The night is far from over. As you move through the ranks, you catch a low conversation, a vassal muttering about your rise. His voice is clipped and urgent. He wonders aloud whether the tiger's claws are as sharp as the stories claim. The words hang in the air, heavier than any sword. You do not pause, but you remember. In this world, reputation is armor and a painted target. The next rumor may strike closer than any blade. The river beside the battlefield runs swift and cold. Its surface is fractured by the first drops of a coming storm. You pause to watch drifting leaves spin in the current, your reflection broken and shifting. The land belongs to those who can seize it and hold it, night after night. Victory is measured not in applause, but in the tense hush when your name is spoken. The river's current pulls at more than fallen leaves. A cluster of samurai approaches, led by your most trusted retainer. He kneels, presenting a captured sword, ornate but chipped from desperate defense. It belonged to the enemy commander, now face down in the mud. This is proof, a symbol of dominance as old as the mountains. You accept it wordlessly, the weight of legacy settling in your hands. The gesture does not go unnoticed. The air thickens with anticipation as your men await your next command. You know that to pause too long is to invite uncertainty. The Tiger of Kai must not seem indecisive. You raise the captured blade, voice steady, and declare the land safe for tonight. The cheer is ragged but real, echoing off the wet stones. Still, you sense the mood is shifting. For a heartbeat, you allow yourself to feel triumph. Then the chill returns. Every victory in the Sengoku period is a signal fire. Across valleys and forests, rival daimyo count your wins and sharpen their knives. The game has changed, and you sense the stakes rising with each new whisper of your name. The night holds its breath. You stride back toward your camp, eyes skimming the flickering torches and guarded faces. The battlefield may be yours, but the night belongs to secrets. It is in these quiet hours that plots are born, alliances fray, and destinies are rewritten. The Tiger of Kai will sleep with one eye open, if at all. Shadows stretch long into the darkness. Your tent is a patch of order amid chaos. The clatter of armor is replaced by tense whispers beyond the canvas. Inside, the air is thick with incense and sweat. The weight of expectation presses in from every side. You shed your armor, feeling the sting where leather has bitten skin. Rest does not come easily. A scroll awaits on the low table, its seal broken. The writing inside is urgent and spidery. It warns of a brewing conspiracy, names you recognize linked with others you barely trust. In the Sengoku period, information is as valuable as steel. You read each line twice, measuring which threats are real and which are bait. The lines blur together, demanding a response. The rain begins in earnest, drumming on the roof as if to hammer in the truth. Peace is an illusion here. You pace the length of your chamber, boots marking out old battle scars on the wooden floor. The tiger's strength is not just in battle, but in knowing when to strike and when to wait. Outside, the world listens. Outside, the river surges, swollen by the downpour. Inside, you consider the next move, knowing every decision will ripple outward. The men who cheered for you hours ago might curse your name if the wind changes. In Sengoku Japan, loyalty is a currency spent quickly and with regret. The future is as restless as the storm. A servant enters, bowing so low, his forehead brushes the mat. He brings news. The defeated clan's surviving heir has vanished into the mountains. This is no small thing. An enemy in retreat can be more dangerous than one in chains. You instruct your generals to double the watches. Tonight, the tiger is both hunter and hunted. The mountains conceal more than fugitives. The night air presses cold against your skin. In your chamber, silence rules. Only distant thunder and a flickering lantern break it. You kneel alone, sword across your knees. The steel shines, reflecting regrets and ambition. Power brings its own frost. It creeps from the stone floor, settling behind your eyes. The clang of steel from the training grounds lingers. You sense the night is not finished with you yet. You study your reflection in the blade. You see your features, but also the shadows of those you forced aside. Tonight, faces of family and former allies crowd behind you. They are silent witnesses to every gamble that brought you here. Thunder draws closer, rattling the rice paper walls. Somewhere, a servant muffles a cough, afraid to break the tension. Every sense is tuned, tight as a drawn bow. You brace for the next betrayal or test. The loneliness of legacy lingers, promising new costs. Outside, the icy river cuts through your land, black and swift. It carries rumors as easily as snow melt. You remember the first time your father's advisor whispered of an alliance that would split your inheritance. The memory tastes bitter, like water left too long in steel. In Sengoku Japan, family is a weapon, sometimes blunted, often sharpened against your own skin. The old guard cling to tradition, but you learned early. Tradition does not keep you alive. Each morning brings new threats and shifting loyalties. You never let your guard down. Each hour in court is a test. A page, no older than 12, bows low and delivers a folded message. A distant cousin has aligned with a rival clan. The ink is still damp. The words are cold. You do not flinch. Alliances are fleeting as mountain fog. Trust is a luxury for the naive. A news will force your hand. Hesitation is the only true defeat here. The river outside howls, echoing urgency in your blood. You rise, blade in hand, stepping into the corridor. Every footstep on the polished wood is intent made visible. Servants scatter, eyes averted, sensing both the storm within and the one outside. You pass the council chamber, catching whispers, names, debts, threats weaving like smoke. Even among your loyal men, suspicion presses in. The walls seem to listen, waiting for what comes next. The next move is yours. You gather your retainers. Faces are half lit by oil lamps, half shadowed by doubt. The council is a theatre. Tonight you are both actor and audience. Someone coughs, nerves snapping tension like a bowstring. You announce a new border patrol, disguised as routine. Every man knows it is a test of loyalty. You watch for cracks, not just in enemies, but within your own ranks. The game is never simple. Your uncle, ever the skeptic, meets your gaze with a wry smile. He says nothing, but his silence is a challenge. You remember when he praised your swordsmanship, then sent spies to watch you practice. Here, even compliments carry a blade. The council disperses. Each retainer bows lower than the last. You are left with echoes of footsteps and the storm's constant presence. Lightning sketches the mountains, revealing new dangers. You pace the veranda. Rain needles your face. Breath clouds in the cold air. Clan banners flap red and gold against the black. You wonder if your father ever felt so isolated. The line between legacy and lost cause is razor thin. You grip your sword's hilt, feeling the cold metal and your own doubts. Every decision tonight will ripple through the province by morning. The world awaits your answer. A messenger arrives, soaked and wide-eyed. He kneels, pressing his forehead to the wood. He delivers a single name. The rival lord's son has crossed into Kai with 30 men. The message is simple. The implications are not. This is not a raid. It is a statement, a test of your resolve. You dismiss the messenger and turn toward the main hall. Your mind races. The river outside is no longer the only thing moving swiftly tonight. You gather your armor in silence. Each piece is heavier than memory. The lacquered plates, the cords tied by trusted hands, the helmet with its fierce crest, all are symbols and all are burdens. Each snap of a cord is a promise to those before you, and a warning to those who would challenge you. Thunder rolls again. The world contracts to torchlight and the drumbeat of rain on stone, hinting at what's to come. In the armory, your most loyal retainer stands ready. His face is unreadable. You exchange no words. Nothing needs to be said. The two of you move through shadows, every step measured. Every silence is loaded. Tension coils tighter with each moment. The castle gates loom ahead. Guards shift nervously at your approach. Tonight, every gesture is watched. Every pause could be seen as weakness or intent. You feel the weight of every eye. Outside the walls, the world feels larger and colder. The river's roar drowns out all but the clink of your armor and distant sword drills. You mount your horse. Its breath steams in the chill. Your retainer falls in beside you. Together you ride toward the outskirts, where the rivals' men are camped. The path is slick with mud. Trees bow under the rain's weight. In Sengoku Japan, even the weather is an adversary. You brace for what's ahead. Sunrise breaks over the mountain province of Kai. You, now the tiger, Takeda Lord, lead your riders into a world painted silver by mist. War threatens on every horizon. Hoofbeats drum behind you, echoing judgment. Each man is alert, eyes flicking to the fob that clings to pine and boulder. The air tastes of iron and river ice. The mountains test your resolve. Your armor feels heavy, not only steel, but the sting of recent betrayal. A messenger's words echo, an alliance has crumbled, and a rival lord stirs beyond the border. The morning offers little peace, and the day's dangers are only beginning. Samurai banners snap in the early wind, their symbols stand bold against the pale sky. Today you ride at the head, not the edge, no longer the anxious son, but the architect of your clan's fate. The feudal court, with its shifting alliances and tense whispers, feels impossibly distant. Every glance from your generals carries silent calculation, loyalty, fear, or ambition. The Sengoku handshake is classic, one hand on the sword, the other hidden, just in case. Suspicion walks beside you, and trust is never simple. You remember the first time you crossed this river as a boy. The water bit your legs. Your father's words were colder still. Takeda blood, he'd said, is tested at the edge of the blade. Now, the river's icy spray freckles your horse's legs. The line between legend and disaster feels razor thin. Rival scouts have been seen, shadows among the cedars glimpsed through lifting fog. The enemy is close, and the next move is uncertain. At your army's heart, tension is thick. Samurai grip weapons tighter. They scan the tree line for steel's glint. Armor clatters and horses snort, filling the air. Distant thunder rumbles over the mountains, promising more than rain. You issue orders calmly, feeling the weight of every choice. The stakes are simple: survival, legitimacy, mastery of Kai. Every decision matters, and the pressure mounts. The path ahead splits at a narrow gorge. The river runs swift and deep. You halt, signaling the vanguard to spread out. The men obey, moving with drilled discipline, but their eyes betray nerves. This is where rivals might strike, where Takeda supremacy could shatter in a heartbeat. The terrain offers no comfort, and the threat may be closer than you think. A scout returns, mud-splattered and breathless. He kneels and mutters. The enemy has moved, not to the gorge, but toward the old trade road. The twist is clear. Your rival is a strategist, not a brute. Outflanking is their gamble. If you misjudge, your army risks isolation and defeat. The threat sharpens, and your options narrow. You turn to your oldest general, his loyalty as worn as his armor. His advice is blunt. Hold the high ground and wait. Let the enemy exhaust themselves in rough terrain. But your instincts, honed by years of court intrigue, urge movement. You decide to split your forces. Trusted men shadow the trade road while you hold the river crossing. The gamble is yours alone, and the outcome is uncertain. Thunder rolls closer. The wind shifts, carrying rain and the scent of distant smoke. A flash of lightning reveals movement among the trees, the enemy vanguard, smaller than expected but bold. They emerge, armor lacquered and banners low, advancing with purpose. The moment crackles with danger. A single misstep, and your line could break. The clash is near. You signal your archers. They notch arrows in practiced silence. The first volley hisses through the mist, thudding into earth and shield. The enemy halts, reassessing. For a moment, time stretches thin. Only the river's rush and anxious breathing fill the quiet. The next move is yours, and hesitation could cost everything. An opportunity flickers. The enemy's hesitation is a window, brief, but wide enough for a decisive push. You order your cavalry forward, not in a wild charge but a disciplined wedge. Horses pound the muddy bank. The clash of steel rings out, sharp as a thrown gauntlet. The fight is joined, and the outcome hangs in balance. The battle is not grand or cinematic. It is desperate, close and dirty. Armor dense. Mud flies. Voices go hoarse. You find yourself face to face with an enemy officer. His blade darts like a snake. The fight is brief. Your sword finds its mark. The man crumples. Seeing you at the front, your men rally with renewed ferocity. The tide turns, but the enemy is not finished. The enemy, realizing their gamble has failed, pulls back toward the trees. You do not pursue. This is not the time for reckless glory. Instead, you send runners to your detached force, warning them of the enemy's movements. The larger battle is not won by strength alone, but by reading the board, anticipating the next move before it happens. The war is far from over, and new threats may be gathering. Rain begins to fall. The world narrows to the muddy field, the stench of sweat, and the metallic tang of blood. You walk among your men, checking wounds, offering terse praise. You make sure no rumor of panic takes hold. The whispers of your court have followed you here. Every outcome will be scrutinized, every decision weighed against the old Takeda code. Judgment waits, and your reputation is on the line. You feel the cold seep through your armor. Power in the Sengoku period is never warm or comfortable. A wounded soldier clutches your sleeve, murmuring thanks for your courage. You nod, but your mind races ahead, calculating which rival will strike next, and which ally will decide your fate with a word. Tomorrow is uncertain, and the struggle is not over. At your makeshift camp, fires flicker in the damp air. Maps unroll, stones marking villages and passes. Your commanders debate the next move. You listen, but the decision is yours alone. The burden of command is a mountain, heavier than any armor. The next step must be chosen soon, and hesitation could prove costly. A courier arrives with news from Kai's heartland. Your presence is demanded by the elders, suspicious of your recent choices. Even as you fight for survival at the border, your legitimacy is questioned at home. Every victory on the field must be matched by diplomacy in the court. The balance is delicate, and the stakes are rising. You draft a message. Words are chosen as carefully as any sword stroke. Loyalty, you write, is proven by deeds, not words. You seal it with your crest and send it on its way. Then you turn back to the business of war. In the Sengoku period, every hour on the battlefield risks a knife in the back at home. The dual struggle continues, and your focus must not waver.